The air was cold, thick, with the smell of damp and smog. Rose pulled her cloak tight around her and hurried over to the doctor. He was busy inspecting a large wooden gate, his sonic screwdriver poised over the lock, its tip glowing and humming. Breaking and exiting, Rose suggested, her breath misting in the chilly air. The doctor didn't look up from his work. "Someone's in trouble. Can't you hear?" Now that he'd said it, she could. Beneath the usual city noise or clatter of distant wheels on cobblestones, the faint shouts of people calling out, the sad hoot of a boat on the Thamesdale was something else. A muffled cry, filled with pain and fear. The sonic screwdriver let out a final, higher-pitched hum, and the lock clicked open. Without a moment's hesitation, the doctor kicked the heavy gate, sending it flying inwards as he charged through. About 50 feet away, caught in the pale, sickly glow of a street lamp, a man was fighting for his life. His attacker was forcing him backward, its hands clamped around his neck, bearing down on him with immense pressure. It was a dark shape, all silhouette and no detail, a terrifying void in the gloom. For a split second, Rose thought she saw the vague outline of a third figure melting back into the shadows, but it was gone before she could be sure. The doctor crashed shoulder first into the attacker, the impact sounding like a dull thud. The hold was broken, and the figure stumbled back. The doctor collapsed, clutching his shoulder in pain, but quickly scrambled back to his feet, ready for another round. The attacker paused in the deepest shadows, as if deciding whether to take on this new opponent. Dr. Rose yelled, running towards them. Her arrival seemed to be the deciding factor. The dark figure turned and marched away with a strange, stiff gait, disappearing into the oppressive darkness. Rose was trying to get a better look, trying to make out any feature in the dim light, when her foot caught on the curb. She went sprawling, throwing her hands out to break her fall. She felt the rough surface of the pavement scrape against her palms, rubbing the skin raw. She landed in an undignified heap right next to the man who had been attacked. He was lying on the ground, gasping for breath and rubbing at his bruised throat. He wore white gloves, which were now stained and dirty from the struggle. The doctor leaned over him and gently loosened his collar. "Has he gone?" he asked, his focus entirely on the victim. "Yeah. I scared him off," Rose said, a bit of pride in her voice. She got back to her feet, shrugging the cloak over her shoulders and wincing as she looked at her hands. They were grazed, sore, and covered in mud. "Typical. I'm glad someone did," the doctor said, straightening up and rubbing his injured shoulder again. It was like running into a brick wall. Rose stooped to help the man on the ground. He was breathing more easily now and was trying to sit up. "Thank you," he croaked, his voice raspy. "I'm obliged." "Don't mention it," the doctor replied cheerfully. "Just try and take it easy. You've had a nasty shock." The man, whose name was Charles, was dressed impeccably, despite the dirt and scuffs from the attack. He was a playwright, and he explained that he had been on his way home from the theater when the mysterious figure ambushed him. He couldn't describe it well, just a feeling of immense strength and coldness. He'd never seen anything like it. The doctor listened intently, his expression growing more serious with every word. "This wasn't a random mugging, Rose," he said quietly. Once they had helped Charles to his feet and ensured he was steady. "That thing wasn't after his money. It was after him, so what was it?" Rose asked, looking down the dark, empty street where the figure had vanished. "Something strong, something not quite human, and something that doesn't like witnesses," the doctor mused, his eyes scanning the shadows. He glanced back at the gate. "And it seems we've just gate-crashed its party." They decided to walk Charles home to a respectable-looking townhouse not far away. The streets were eerily quiet now, the smog muffling every sound, making it feel like they were the only three people left in the world. As they walked, the doctor peppered Charles with questions. Had he noticed anyone following him? Had anything strange happened recently? Charles, still shaken, could only recall little things. A feeling of being watched, whispers that seemed to come from nowhere, shadows that moved when they shouldn't. He'd dismissed it all as the product of an overactive imagination, the occupational hazard of a writer. Now, he wasn't so sure. The doctor's face was a mask of concentration. "This is a pattern," he said, almost to himself. This isn't the first time. We need to find out what that thing is, and what it wants with the creative minds of London. They reached Charles's front door. He fumbled with his keys, his hands still trembling. "I don't know how to thank you both," he said sincerely. "You saved my life. Just stay inside and keep your doors locked," the doctor advised. "And if you see anything at all, don't be a hero." He gave Charles a small, strange-looking device. "Press this if you're in trouble. It'll make a lot of noise. Hopefully, enough to scare it off again." Charles nodded, clutching the device tightly. As he slipped inside and bolted the door, Rose turned to the doctor. "So, what's the plan? We can't just wait for it to attack someone else." "No, we can't," the doctor agreed, his energy returning. "The plan, Rose Tyler, is that we go hunting." He pulled out his sonic screwdriver again, a determined glint in his eye. "That thing left a trail. Faint, but it's there. A sort of residual energy. We follow it, we find its lair, and we find out what's going on in this city." "But your shoulder," Rose stirred, concerned. "Just a scratch," he said dismissively, though she saw him wince as he moved. "Right now, there are bigger things to worry about. People are in danger." He set off down the street at a brisk pace, the sonic screwdriver already humming as it searched for a signal. Rose looked at her scraped hands, then back at the dark, imposing silhouette of the doctor marching into the fog. With a sigh and a small smile, she pulled her cloak tighter and ran to catch up. Another night, another mystery. It was exactly where she was supposed to be. The smog-filled London air seemed to buzz with untold secrets, and together, they were about to uncover them. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow for the next part of the adventure.